Hi there, welcome to this Brooks audio tutorial on getting MIDI out of Ableton and back in again to benefit in lots of ways, such as this really cool new way that I've developed to automatically randomize a patch in any Ableton plugin, which can lead to some really cool results. So let's go. Okay, so here we are in Ableton. I've got a track 1 here with a operator on it and a clip here with a C3 note repeated every 16th, and it sounds a bit like this. Pretty unremarkable. I want to make it much more interesting. So the first step to achieving this is to set up what's called the IAC bus. So I'm going to open up Audio MIDI Setup. You might find this in your utilities. And I'm going to open up, make sure I'm on the MIDI Studio, and I'm going to open up the IAC driver. Go to the ports section here, and I'm going to make a new, if you don't have one already, you can make one using the plus button, and I'm going to call it Ableton Loopback. Right, so then I go back to Ableton and go into my preferences here. I can then, in the MIDI preferences, I can make sure that the IAC driver is enabled as a track output here, and also as a remote input. It's very important that it's track output and remote input. Okay, and what this allows me to do is to copy that data across onto a new MIDI track, and then route that MIDI to my IAC driver Ableton Loopback device. And then what I can do is effectively send that data out here to my IAC bus. Now, how am I going to use that? Well, I'm going to use that to come back into Ableton by creating a group for my operator and having a look at the macros. Now, this is Ableton 11 only. Okay, that you have this functionality, but you can randomize a macro, and that random button is MIDI mappable. So if I select that now and I play my sequence, that one C3 is coming from the IAC bus, coming back in to Ableton, and it's going to start clicking that random button every 16th note. So I'm going to then assign to my macros, I'm going to assign a couple of different things. So something that which you can't normally automate, or at least not using velocity anyway, is the oscillator type. So I might just assign that to macro 1 for oscillator 3, and oscillator 2, I'm going to assign that to macro 2, for example. So now when I play, if I assign a small amount of negative track delay, which you can enable from the delay menu here for each track, and then drag that back a little bit, just so that the randomization happens just before the note plays, now my very basic repeating pattern sounds like this. You can assign any control to this. So let's say, for fun, let's do the frequency of the filter here, and assign that and see what that sounds like. So if we want to refine this further, we can adjust the macro here using the normal map view, and we can limit the range that that filter will operate in. So I might just decide I only want it to be random between 900 Hertz and 300 Hertz as a minimum and maximum here, and then my randomization will only work within that range. So such a cool application. You can use this to send MIDI out of Ableton and back in again to do a whole host of different things. So this is a really great process to get your head around, and this is an exceptionally cool thing for getting variation in any plugin within Ableton. So hopefully this has been useful. Check out my other videos on the Brooks Audio channel, and please subscribe, and also check out my Patreon, because that's the best way to support me to create more videos and keep thinking about different ways to push Ableton in more new ways and show you some really cool tips and tricks like this one. Big up, see you next time. Peace!